Thank you very much, Jill, and thank you everybody around. Actually, I don't have a presentation, so I don't waste time in clicking these devilish machines. The topic is quite wide, so I will try to focus on our perspective of the way forward. What is being done is being done. The revolution has done a massive seismic change in the political arena in Sudan. And this is due to the perseverance and the steadfastness of the Sudanese youth mainly, and women, Kandakas, and the organized workforce, trade unions and the remnants of it, and the political parties, of course, and our comrades in the armed struggle. Each one chipped in, denting the armor of the previous deposed regime, and everyone has got a stake in that. Now we are in a status quo where the slogans of the revolution is not being achieved. Nobody expected to be achieved 100%. Yet, people, as I have witnessed, lean towards thinking that this transitional period of 3 years is the key. It is the passport to all the problems, which is not true. We are here at this point, at this juncture in our Sudanese modern history, is to just establish the springboard for the coming change. The change is as an aspiration, it is all in our hearts and souls and minds, but to realize it in a problematic situation since the post-colonial era and exacerbated by 30 years of dictatorship and ideological bigotry practiced by the deposed regime. So, quick solutions is a very dangerous sort of aspiration or expectation. So this is the general thrust that I want to focus on, and I want everybody to just go that slide journey with us. 30 years of a deep state, marred with atrocities never heard of in the history of Sudan, and maybe in a Guinness Book of Records of atrocities in the book of the world heinous epochs. So, this cannot be brushed under the carpet, no way. Because this affected millions and millions of people. There is children who grow up with these atrocities, with these traumas, which actually scarred their psychic and their minds, and it's going to be there like a time bomb. So we need to address this and to uproot it, and to be as clear as possible and call the spade a spade. Within our partners in the revolution, in the political parties, and there is a tendency of let us grasp this and work to complete what is not being achieved. I think to repeat a mistake once could be an oversight. To repeat it twice, it would be stupidity in my book. To do it for the third time, this is a mere suicide. It is a mere stark and bleak suicide. The agreements which took us from a despotic juncture to an open plan or plane for playing the democracy, that is a huge step forward. But what has been agreed is full of time bombs. Having in mind the deep state is already there, the vested interests of the international community, regardless of what they are sweet tongue they are happening, dishing here and there, and we have proof, quite solid proofs, that there is a local regional powers who want to keep the previous regime for their own ideological, economical, whatever agenda. So we are faced by all this. If we dozed or had a siesta while the war is waging, we're going to lose it again for the third time. And the generations of the Sudanese, the young people, will never, ever forgive us here. And this is in our watch. So what we do, what happened, all of us participated in achieving it. It is being now targeted by negative forces or counter forces. What should we do? We should keep to the ceiling that we agreed upon, which is the declaration of freedom and change. This declaration at least will keep the ground, the springboard for us in order to tackle the challenge from within and from without, or from the outside. So, with all the respect, and actually I'm quite sort of pleased to hear Roslinda mentioning things in a very systematic way, and that is dissecting the cadaver of what happened in Sudan. And we know exactly what is going there. What is the maladies? The proposals of treating it, I think, needs to be more local outwards rather than from outside. Nobody can convince me that if I have an itch in my back and you scratch your back, I will feel good. No. I should scratch my own back. But with the support of the people who really have got a vested interest in a stable, prosperous Sudan. Sudan geopolitics is very important to everybody. Sudan was a surrogate for all the Islamic terrorist groups in the area. And it has been like reining them there, and that is one of the blackmailing powers the regime of Sudan has on the West. Truly, it is not a sort of, in my book, it is not like a mutual agreement. It is just a blackmailing. I will unleash these genies if you don't do that and this. And now they're there. Let us be frank, they're there. They cannot be dealt with these half-cooked plans of keeping the status quo and having all these time bombs ticking from within. So what should we do practically? I think what is being done, what is being signed, is the best that our powers can get at this point. So we cannot go with the grain of it forever. Somebody must be there to light the torch, somebody to sound the whistle, and somebody should press the button of alarm when things goes wrong. And we elected ourselves to do that role. This could be an answer to so many questions in my Sudanese friends here, why the Sudanese Communist Party is not fully assimilating with what is happening. We are there, we participated in bringing it, we are so keen to keep it going on to the right, towards the right direction. But, as I try to translate verbatim liberatim one of the proverbs from Darfur in Sudan, they say a snake which holding a locust in its mouth is not likely to bite. So it's just to be like a snake without teeth, without fangs. So we need to drop the locust and be ready if anything happened to threaten the revolution which is being achieved through blood, tears, and sweat. And I think in the way that we're doing it right now, we're not going to satisfy the demands of the Sudanese people, especially regardless of the smooth talks that our comrades in the armed forces cannot achieve that thing, I mean the thing that they're targeting, without taking on board the real people on ground. Real people in real life situations has to be taken on board. And this cannot be achieved without proper representation. Proper representation should be by proper delegation. And this cannot happen in these 3 years. But we should put on ground the laws and the procedures that will make this happen when we pass this juncture. And it happened, I mean, in our assessment, this is not going the right way. It's not deviating 100%, or I mean 90% out of the trajectory, but somebody must be there to tell the people of the Sudan what is happening in the dark rooms where things are being festering there. I don't want to sound like pessimistic or trying to be negative all the time, but this is the reality, and we have to shout it out from the top of our heads, as loud as possible, because it is being whitewashed, and it is being pushed under the carpet. This is a revolution. This is a revolution. It is not a dealing between this party and that party. And this brings me to the last point, is it was an erroneous story from the beginning. The military declared that they have sided with the revolution. And this happened twice before. And maybe this gave us, or the people in Sudan, the idea that this is going to be the same. So if you are a partner, you don't sit on the other side of the table and try to debate with me on a bone of contention. From the start, those were not partners. Those, either they want to preserve the status quo in some way, or they have an agenda which is not compatible with the revolution and with the people who paid the blood and the sweat and the tears. So from the beginning we said, no, this is not the right way, guys. But it went through that, fine. Now deviations here and there, and the constitutional declaration is full of time bombs. The military component, there are 5 there, but they are holding the line. They have the leverage of everything there. You cannot pass anything if they are not happy with it. 2 of the most important military ministries are solely guys, I'm a chatterbox when it comes to this, but Gel here, like a prefect, he stops me all the time. Anyway, to conclude in just 1 minute or less, that what is happening in Sudan is an uprisal. It was being stopped before its metamorphosis comes to that point of a revolution. There is a potential of it, with the power and will of the Sudanese people, to be transformed in a real revolution. What I believe is revolution is a deep-rooted change. It's not necessarily with guns and Potemkin tanks and things like that. No, it is the deep-rooted change. The deep-rooted change can be achieved not now, under these circumstances. It has to happen through a process of a peaceful transformation, which has to happen in after the end of the transitional period, but the transitional period should be guarded by real laws and real procedures, having in mind the reason why those young people were ready to shed their blood and tear and sweat for the sake of the change in Sudan. Thank you very much.